The SaturSlay is coming. Yeah, I did like that song by Michael Jackson. It was called Black or White. Now, a lot of the early 1990s were racial harmony come together songs because of the Rodney King assault. Long before the heroin addict and counterfeit money home invader George Floyd choked from an overdose, I guess, and by the police officer Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis, Minnesota? No. So Rodney King was probably pulled over for a speeding violation or something. He wasn't really doing it that I know of nefarious. So, or maybe he was pulled over maybe he was swerving because he was a little intoxicated, perhaps. Came back from the club. Now he was funny. He kind of looked like he could have been like a famous guy for something else. He looks like he could have been like like an actor in Hollywood or something. He looks like Rodney King looked like that guy from Coming to America that's like, let your soul glow. Like he definitely looked like a star for some reason. I mean, he had the mustache, he had the Jerry curl. I mean, he had, the flashy suit. I mean, he was really like old school pimping. And yeah, he probably should have went out to Hollywood. It probably would have had a better life, I think, maybe. Rodney King. Yeah, he probably could have been an actor. And he was kind of an actor. I mean, really. He did the quote of the century. So after the 4 white cops were they were recorded beating the shit out of Rodney King. Beating the shit out of Rodney King. They beat the crap out of him, And he recovered, thankfully. And then he famously went on the camera after he got out of the hospital and he said, "Can't we all just get along?" Wow. Can't we all just get along? So a lot of the early 1990s to mid 1990s stuff was all this racial, and then of course there was the O.J. Simpson trial, and so Michael Jackson, in the midst of this, in the early 90s, decided to, all this racial disharmony stuff, he decided to release a song called Black or White, and now, what the song is really known for is cool chord changes. Now, I think it has a 9th somewhere down here, though I'll have to look it up to see what the actual chords are. But it sounds really cool. It has really cool chord changes. It's an up-tempo beat, like a lot of Michael Jackson songs. They're always, typically, usually pretty positive and kind of pumped up. And so that one. Black and White also was one of the early usages of CGI. It had the people morph into different, races around the world and different ethnicities. It was a unifying song, Black or White. It goes, "You can be my baby. It doesn't matter if you're black or white." Blah, blah, blah. And so it's supposed to be a racial healing or a world healing song. It was basically like a Michael Jackson's version, or at least a racial version of Come Together in a way. So sometimes musical artists, they make a song that's like Come Together, or Everybody Chill Out, that sort of thing. Like sort of like, hey, stop, baby, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. They try to make some like social commentary, social justice unifying song. And some of them are good, and some of them are too preachy, and some are bad, some are okay, and then some are just, like hits, like Black or White, and they're just commercial. So, or Come Together is commercial by the Beatles. And they're just, they're not really trying to hammer away a social justice message, but they're, just simple. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or come together. And there's not really much of a hidden agenda besides a simple message. Can't we all just get along? And that's just a very simple, peaceful message. Nothing wrong with that. And sometimes those kind of songs sell a lot. Sometimes those songs sell a lot. Now, this Michael Jackson song, Black or White, is really good because Michael Jackson and his team were really great hit makers and songwriters. So they knew how to write great shit. No matter what your opinion of Michael Jackson. Of course, he was eccentric, multimillionaire. Of course, he was strange. Of course, at first he seemed normal, and then he got impetigo, and then started to kind of hang out with little children, and then there was a lot of controversies around that. So, yeah. Do I think Michael Jackson was a child molester, a chomo? I don't know if he was, just into children's charities or, how, I don't know. I don't think he was officially charged with anything. I don't think he went to, yeah. Usually I figure someone's guilty if they go to prison and they're charged. And so if they're guilty, if it's just the media doing innuendo. So if I'm a multi-million-dollar singer and then I have a whole bunch of kids staying at my mansion, but nothing's going on and they're just playing. Okay. Yeah. If parents are if they're coming over with their children and like I'm basically like a billionaire babysitter, then I don't think there's anything, wrong going on. I'm sure there was a lot of people back then that said, hey, you know what? Michael Jackson's really rich. So they're like, hey, let's extort him for money. I'm sure. I mean, yeah. Of course, Michael Jackson had a very traumatic and fucked up childhood. And so, who knows? But I think he was just a little kid at heart. And he wanted to be around children and wanted to help out children. So I'm going to go with that. Not because I'm trying to protect his image as a singer-songwriter or pop star or a cultural icon, but it's just because you're only guilty if you go to prison. In my mind, that's how law works. Law works. Well, you're not guilty by the media or you're not charged by the public perception or what they want to believe. Okay, so. The law is on the books. The law is the law. So that's what must be respected, not media hype, not innuendo, not rumors, hearsay, not accusations. Those don't have any merit or weight in law. So only cold, hard facts. I know we live in a world where people want their version of the truth to be true. So instead of the facts being true. And that's, might be the result of information or cultural wars internally and externally inside the United States and around the world. But, but no one's going to be able to convince me that the sky is green and the grass is blue. I wish, but it's not. So you're not going to be able to convince me that there are 4 lights, like Star Trek The Next Generation, when Captain Jean-Luc Picard is getting tortured by the Cardassian. There are 4 lights. And then he tortures them some more because it's a totalitarian system in which they try to tell you something is true when you know it's not. And so that's what they call totalitarianism, like, or authoritarianism, like the Chinese Communist Party. That's where they try to tell you that water isn't wet, or that the desert is moist or something like that. And you're like, no, it's not. But they keep trying to torture you or brainwash you into believing something that is markedly not true. It's like the left trying to tell people women can be men and men can be women. And it's like most of society thinks, no, that's bullshit. I don't care how much you try to push your agenda on us. We shall resist because we know what the inherent, objective, and empirical truth of things usually are that do not have a high degree of technical, intense, rigorous education to understand. So, but we know the basics even without an Ivy League or a Harvard, Oxford education or whatever. SaturSlay is coming. Yeah, we have a president that's not fucking around. I love it. The last president was derelict, corrupt, defunct, weak, pathetic, stupid, arrogant, prideful, ridiculous, a buffoon, a tyrant, not a leader. He was the absent-minded professor. He was the Lloyd Bridges from Hot Shots Part 2. He was the steward of Gondor. He was the derelict, corrupt stand-in for what a leader should be. And he failed miserably in his... America had to get over the shock that Joe Biden was even elected in the first place. They had to get over the shock that American citizens, enough of them, would actually vote for such a incompetent, corrupt buffoon as Joseph R. Biden. And then, so, we have to adjust. It's like you have a corrupt, evil boss, and then all of a sudden you get a really great boss who knows how to run the thing, and you just can't really... So your last boss was stealing from the company coffers, and he was screwing everybody over, and he was a tyrant, and he was firing good workers, and he was just, fucking shit up. And then now we have a great boss who wants to increase to make the ship. We have a great captain of our ship now. The last one was a ruthless tyrant, and he made people walk the plank, and he was enslaving, and he was punishing, and he was taxing, and he was spending, and he was hoarding all the loot for himself. And now we have a captain that wants the sailors and the workers on the ship to have a great life. So that is very different. And he wants to lead the ship to greener pastures, to a better world. And that's something that we have not been used to under the Biden-Harris administration and the rule of the Democrat Party in this country. So a lot of adjustments, A real leader. A real leader. A real leader who believes in justice. Truth, justice, and the American way. Finally. And a leader that's going to punish enemies of America. Punish through justice. So, the one rule of a great leader is that you don't negotiate with terrorists. So, you just do not. A great leader does not negotiate with terrorists. You threaten terrorists. You try to negotiate with terrorists just to get, you give them a deadline that says release all the hostages or you're not going to exist anymore. You're going to have SaturSlay. So it's on like the old Western, meet me at high noon. And if you don't show up, you're a yellow belly. But show up at high noon, cave to my demands, or, well, we'll destroy your entire village or your whole town. We'll burn it to the ground. We'll do scorched earth on that bitch. Ding dong, hell's bells. Time to pay. Now, why is it that Hamas doesn't want to give up the Israeli and maybe some American hostages? Is because once they do, it's target practice time. Target practice. Then the SaturSlay begins. So that's the deadline. That's real consequences. That's justice. Is give us what we want or, ooh, well, it's not going to work out for them at all. Oh, the SaturSlay. Oh, I'm going to get some popcorn for afternoon. Maybe make it a nice lunch. Some popcorn. We can turn on the news and enjoy the SaturSlay together. How many bombings will there be? Hamas, blown apart, ripped apart. I don't know what the operation is going to be. I don't know what the orders are going to be. But it shall be an interesting weekend, nonetheless, with the SaturSlay. Should I get the popcorn ready for Saturday night? Ooh. Some Orville Redenbacher. Sounds like a decent choice. Get some hot butter. Maybe we'll grill hamburgers that night. Have a little celebration of the SaturSlay. So it'll be a hostage release party, or it'll be a Hamas destruction party. Either way, it'll be a great SaturSlay. So you see in every single movie where there's terrorists and they take hostages, and then the president always goes, I don't negotiate with terrorists, right? In all the Hollywood films, that's the number one rule. I do not negotiate with terrorists. I do not give in to terrorist demands. But it could not continue that Hamas would release 3 emaciated Holocaust survivor looking hostages, and then the Israelis release 200 terrorists. I mean, that situation is unequivocal in terms of mathematical equality. So that situation is skewed. It's not even trades. It's just incongruent, not sustainable. Now, if it was like, okay, we give you 20 guys, these terrorist guys, and you give us 20 hostages, then maybe that's more equitable. That's more reasonable. But this releasing 300 for 3 is not acceptable. I mean, that's not a reasonable deal. That doesn't work mathematically. Yeah, some little. That's how you make the song sound a little bit better. The Philadelphia Eagles victory parade is on Valentine's Friday. Hopefully they'll have security in the city. Real good in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They made a Tom Hanks movie called Philadelphia. Is he a lawyer dying of AIDS? Is it a lawyer dying of AIDS? And I didn't go see it because it wasn't a popular idea to go see a gay man die of AIDS. And that's not like, it might have won him an Oscar, but it was like, he's dying of AIDS and he's just, his face is turning white and shit. And it's like, it's not really something that people get excited to go see. I want to see a guy die of AIDS, a homosexual man die of AIDS. That doesn't really get more people like into the seats, right? It's like, you want to go see a movie about a guy dying of AIDS? No. Hey, let's go see a movie about a guy dying of cancer. I don't want to see that. We already have to see that in real life anyway, so why see a movie of it, you know? See people's face turn white and green and all these weird colors when they're dying, when they're at death's door. The people's face really does turn green and white. Kind of these, they're not fleshy colors anymore. It's like deathly white, deathly ill, green and weird shades of white. It looks pretty stark. Like Doc Holliday's dying in Tombstone, and he's got that white. They put that white makeup on him, like. Yeah, scary shit. I think the terrorists are going to kind of die instantly through fire and flame. And so they won't have to suffer long like cancer or like, I mean, unless they somehow survive and they have to, you know, crawl out decapitated or something like, as, you know, unless they survive a little bit, you know, missing their legs or they have to crawl out bleeding. Maybe they have to suffer a little while longer. Maybe they get crushed on some rubble and they have to Allah Akbar, jihadi. Maybe they get to live a little bit. Praise Muhammad. And they Allahu Akbar. Derpa 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 derpa. So the question for Hamas, a terrorist group backed by Iran, is, so the question is, release the hostages and preserve their existence. How much do they value their existence? So I suppose they have a certain question they have to ask themselves, which is, do I value my existence or the existence of Hamas? Do they value their lives? And we'll find out how much they value their lives if they don't release the hostages by noon on Saturday, as per President Trump's orders. How much do they value existence or being alive? Do they think that's a value in life to actually be alive? Is that something they may be interested in having a future for their organization? Yeah, I guess, that's for them to sort out, but we'll find out. Is the state of being alive is that something people or groups of people would be interested in? I think that would be an inherent interest in life, to be alive. So that would, I think that would, yeah. I don't know if that's percolating in their thought process. Or if these radical militant Islamic groups, if they think, and terrorist groups, if they think that actually fighting the West or fighting, waging a jihad or caliphate against the West is going to land them to some sort of eternal paradise, and that is worth dying for, and that they think they're going to go off to a paradise of 72 virgins with Muhammad and Allah, and it's going to be a wonderful afterlife, unless they have a warped religious perspective in which that some ancient medieval perspective that dying at the hands of your enemies will lead to eternal life as long as you die in the struggle. That's an unfortunate radical militant Islamic view, but it's out there. We've seen it here in the United States and in the Middle East for quite a long time, so we'll see. But we'll see if they have modern sensibilities of self-preservation. Will we get to see fire and fury? All hell break loose, as Donald Trump has said in the past? Well, he said fire and fury in his first term against Iran and its proxies, terror groups, terror organizations. Yeah, he said fire and fury. That sounded pretty intense. Yeah, it did, really. Now he just threatens people with saying, all hell's gonna break loose. I guess hell sounds pretty scary. I'm gonna unleash all hell. But I like the fire. There will be fire and fury and the wrath. See, that sounds a little bit scarier though, doesn't it? The wrath of the fire and the thunder is coming down or something. But maybe he's just trying to be like, a reserved warning. Well, if they don't release the hostages by noon on Saturday, then all hell's gonna break loose. Well, then they're gonna get all hell. Will it be a SaturSlay or a SaturYay? We'll find out. I guess I hope all the hostages are freed. But then when all the hostages are freed, then Hamas will have no more hostages. And then, well, they won't have any. Then they'll have to fight the Israeli Defense Forces and the United States military, a global military power. How do a bunch of ragtag, bunch of dirty wizard medieval AK-47 wielding Foot Clan soldiers from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? How does this small group how will it be able to wage war against such incredible powers against it in the Middle East and around the world? How will it be able to wage war if it has nothing to bargain with? They have no hostages. They don't have a knife to our balls. They'll have nothing then. So then, bring in the drones and the targets and the bombs, and then push G7 and G5 and lock on the coordinates. Bombs away. Launch the missiles and the drones and the whatever else. They're wiped off the face of the earth. Maybe some survive and they crawl out of the rubble and the wreckage and the fire and the flames and the fury. Or will they release the hostages and hope and pray that they're not blown away by the IDF or the United States of America? Give out a prayer to the Eternal Master. Hope for mercy of some kind. Mercy for murderers. Mercy for criminals and rapists and torturers and enslavers. Mercy for attack of innocent victims on October 7th. Or will they try to run to Iran or run somewhere else? Run to Turkey or run to Pakistan or something like Osama bin Laden. Run to Afghanistan or something like that. Try to go hide in Iraq or some bullshit. Go there, try to join an Islamist fundamentalist militant group in Africa. Or, who knows? Try to go run and hide in Pakistan. The Boko Haram, ISIS, ISIL, Al-Qaeda, whatever's left. They try to go hide in a cave somewhere with the Taliban. So this is an interesting situation geopolitically that is unfolding right now. I would have full security at the Philadelphia Eagles celebration, not just because of unruly Eagles fans and, a high propensity of certain people there, let's say. Certain kinds of people will be in attendance at the Philadelphia Super Bowl parade. But, just I hope the security's pretty tight to protect the people in this parade. Just in case there's terror cells that Biden-Harris and the Democrats let in over the past 4 years. hopefully we have a nice Saturday, a Saturday SaturSlay. And we'll have that popcorn ready, just in case the shit hits the fan. The shit hits the plan that weekend. It's supposed to be Valentine's, the weekend of love. I saw my baby. Does it matter if you're black or white? Talk about my baby, cause doesn't matter if you're black or white. I like that. I like the way that song sounds. It's really well produced, right? It has like good chord changes in it. Even has a lot of like ninth chords and has a lot of like really cool, complicated kind of stuff going on. Yeah. SaturSlay. Will it be a Saturday SaturSlay? Yeah, I thought they were going to do the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special on Saturday night. They're actually doing it, what, is it streaming? They want to bilk money out of it. Is it just streaming only on Sunday night special? Or is it with your cable provider package or what? I don't know. But I'm not going to watch it. I don't really care. Saturday Night Live hasn't been funny in like fucking 30 years or some shit. Or 20 years. Or yeah, maybe like 25 years. So Saturday Night Live was funny from 1975 to like 2000-ish. And then after that, it was just shit. That's the truth. Most of the 21st century Saturday Night Live has not been funny. And then after Donald Trump was elected president in 2016, then it turned into the anti-Trump show, just like everything on NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, and Microsoft NBC. NBC Universal. Yeah. Entire media networks, legacy media networks, selling their souls and their integrity just to try to stop Trump. You sold out just to stop Trump, even though you know that would piss off millions and millions and millions of fucking people in the country. They fucking did it anyway. Wow. Somehow, I guess they had an audience. It was a big enough audience to watch. Yeah, so I'm not excited about Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary. I know Chevy Chase is going to be there, and I love Chevy Chase. I fucking love Chevy Chase. I love motherfucking Chevy Chase. I mean, I grew up, 1980, I grew up with Chevy Chase. That was like my childhood right there was Chevy Chase and the original Saturday Night Live and Eddie Murphy. And that was those people, if they're there, it's going to be harder not to watch. But, so is the new cast going to be there and the anti-Trump cast. And so I'm literally amazed that Saturday Night Live has made it to 50 years. So I know the other anti-Trumpers, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, and the other sellouts, Jimmy Fallon and so forth. I know they're not going to make it 50 years. They're not going to make it fucking 10 years. It would be worth it to watch Jimmy Kimmel cry every night on ABC Disney Dishonesty News, though. But I don't want to give them ratings just to watch Jimmy Kimmel whine and cry. SaturSlay. SaturSlay. Slay. So if someone has hostages, terrorist group, if they have hostages, but they're not moving quickly, you give them a deadline, which is a literal. That's what deadline means. You're going to be dead if you don't come through. That's what they call an ultimatum. It's the ultimate ultimatum, and so that's an ultimate warning. Yeah. So you tell your enemies, this is the red line. This is the deadline. It's not just like a deadline like your research paper at colleges do, where there's not really a lot on the line. This is a deadline where people are going to die. That's the original meaning, I would estimate, of deadline, right? It wasn't just that your homework was due that day. It wasn't just that your report to your boss was due the next day. It wasn't just like a business deadline or an academic deadline. This is a deadline, this is a literal deadline. This is the original meaning of deadline. Why'd he pick noon? Maybe Trump's being funny, because in the old Westerns, the gunslingers would meet at high noon to duel. Maybe he's doing a little bit of a joke, a little bit of a meta joke. Not meta Facebook platforms, but the original meaning of meta was a super, like almost a fourth wall breaking joke. The original meaning of meta does not mean Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg. The original meaning of meta is beyond. It means bigger, it means superior. So giving terrorists a deadline at noon is a meta joke, because what it means is it's an allusion to American country western shows and films where the sheriff would tell the bad guy, or the bad guy would tell the good guys, you have to meet me at high noon. That means it's showtime, it's showdown time for a violent encounter. An exciting showdown. Two rivals meet each other, and either the demands are met, or the commands are met, or there's all hell to pay. Not exactly like the gunfight at the OK Corral, but kind of, sort of. So who's gonna flinch? Well, I know it's not Trump and the Israelis. Hey.
Hey, I'm gonna have to get on the computer and all that.
Oh yeah, I'm about to out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
All right, just a moment.
You'll turn on.
Yeah, I'll turn it on now. And so, well, we'll see what. The ball is in the court of Hamas Saturday noon. And we'll see if they follow demands or commands, or if they fail to comply. So, should be interesting regardless. God bless and best of success.